Here is a model of an L-bar shaped piece of rebar. This is what we'll be putting in the footings next. Before we do that, let's take a look at our plans. Let's look at view B8, which will show us this part of the house. Here it shows a foundation wall. You can see the L-bar is placed so that the L is tucked underneath one of the pieces of rebar in the footing. Often L-bar rebar is put into footings just after the concrete has been poured, and then they're straightened. The notes say that the footing size and the rebar will be determined by an engineer. Elsewhere in this plan set there is a table that shows several different scenarios, how closely spaced those pieces of rebar need to be. The size number 4 rebar is shown here. There are also special considerations around openings, which in other words are windows and doors in a foundation wall. Let's jump back to the section view. This plan says that this wall is 8 foot 10 inches, or in other words close enough to be regarded as a 9-foot foundation wall. Many residential homes have walls that are 8 feet tall. By the time you add the concrete floor here that's 4 inches thick, you end up with a ceiling height that is less than 8 feet. So this taller wall gives us more comfortable ceiling heights in the basement. If we jump back to our chart, it says for a wall with a maximum height of 9 feet, this is a concrete foundation wall, and an 8-inch thickness, we need to use number 4 size rebar, and we need to space it 16 inches on center vertically, and we need to have at least 7 horizontal pieces of rebar spaced equally in the wall. Here's an example in Inventor of vertical and horizontal rebar in one of the walls in our model. It'll be a solid wall, no window or door in it. But this shows how it would look. When rebar is installed, it's tied together with wire ties. With your foundation level assembly open, go to Place and find the file called L-bar rebar group 1. This has 4 pieces of rebar spaced 16 inches on center. Let's place 2 copies of that in our assembly and press escape. To assemble the rebar, let's go to Constrain and start by zooming in and selecting the center line of the bottom of the L-bar and place that on the surface of the footing. If you zoom in, you can see that the center of the rebar is on the footing. It's halfway sunken in there. We're going to send it down even further. The footing is 10 inches tall, so let's drop it about 5.5 inches. So we'll type 5.5 on the offset, and it looks like we need to make that a negative. That will drop our rebar into the footing. Click Apply. In our next constraint, let's center the rebar across this dimension of the footing. So we'll select the center line, we'll select the side of the footing. Our footings are 20 inches, so let's type negative 10 inches and click Apply. Let's center it across the long distance of our model footing here. Select the center line, select the side of the footing, and a value of minus 14 inches will work here for this particular footing, and click Apply. And even though the L-bar looks like it's lined up straight, we need to add another constraint to this other side. So I'll press escape, click constrain, click this other side, L bar, rebar, click the front of the footing, and enter -10 inches. Click OK. And now let's place the rebar on this footing over here. This one's a little bit different at the end, so I'll walk you through the steps again. Constrain, click this center line, click the top of the footing, and enter -5.5 to drop it down in. Hit apply. Then select the vertical center of the L bar right here and center that by typing -10 inches. Click apply. And then this is the part that's a little different. For our model to work out correctly, constrain these sides together and then type -12 inches. Click OK. Now let's add a different configuration of L-bar rebar to this footing. Go to Place, and this is L-bar rebar group 2. Place one copy of that. Press escape. This is different because we're going to have a doorway here, and we don't want rebar there. We have to have a door. Constrain this in the same way that we did this configuration here. Let's start like this. -5.5. Apply. Center line and this surface. -10. Apply. Center line and this surface. -10.